In this audiobook, you'll learn how to harness the invisible forces of the universe to align your mind and energy for success, love, and happiness. The Quantum Attractor is not just a book. It's a guide to understanding how your thoughts, energy, and beliefs shape the life you experience. The Quantum Attractor. Introduction. What if you could attract everything you desire, success, love, and abundance, simply by aligning your mind and energy with the universe? The Quantum Attractor reveals the powerful principles that govern your reality. By understanding how your thoughts, emotions, and energy shape your life, you can begin to manifest the future you've always dreamed of. This book combines science, ancient wisdom, and real-life stories to show you how to tap into the invisible forces at work around you. It's time to step into your power and become the creator of your own reality. Chapter 1. The Awakening, there's M. A quiet moment in life that doesn't announce itself, doesn't come with fanfare or flashing lights, but changes everything. It's when you begin to wonder if the life you're living is really the life you were meant for. It might hit you while staring at the ceiling in the middle of the night, or standing in line at a grocery store, watching people pass by with blank eyes and tired hearts. It might creep in when you're sitting at your desk, doing work that pays the bills but doesn't feed the soul. For some, like Oprah Winfrey, it comes after years of trauma and pain, rising from a background most wouldn't escape, to discovering that she wasn't just here to survive, she was here to awaken others. For others, like Albert Einstein, the moment came through wonder, when he imagined riding on a beam of light not because a textbook told him to, but because curiosity stirred something deeper. And maybe that's where you are now, reading this not because everything's falling apart, but because something inside you is whispering, there has to be more. Not more stuff, not more followers, not more hustle, more meaning, more connection, more truth. We live in a world where we're constantly told what to chase, success, money, attention, but rarely are we asked to pause and question whether those things bring us closer to our essence or distract us from it. The awakening starts when you notice the ache, that quiet emptiness that no new car, vacation, or relationship can seem to fill. It's the space inside that begins to feel too loud to ignore. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Maybe your relationships feel shallow, or your job feels like a treadmill, or your daily life is so noisy that silence feels like a stranger. That's not failure. That's the invitation. Because real awakening doesn't come from reading 1,000 books or sitting on a mountaintop. It comes from noticing what's no longer working and being brave enough to ask why. It comes from peeling back the layers of what you were told to be and getting honest about who you really are underneath it all. That's what happened to Maya Angelou, when after living through hardship, racism, and loss, she discovered her voice wasn't just for speaking, it was for awakening. Her words didn't just heal her, they healed generations. The same is true for you in your own way. You may not be a poet or a physicist or a billionaire talk show host, but you are something just as powerful. You are aware. That's the first spark of transformation. And here's the truth they don't teach in school. Awareness changes everything. Because the moment you become aware, you start seeing life differently. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop blaming and start asking, what is life trying to teach me right now? That's where your power lives, in that pause, that question, that shift. And no, it's not easy. Awakening often comes with loss of certainty, of comfort, of illusion. Sometimes it's the loss of friendships that were built on the version of you that no longer exists. But in that space, in the breaking, something beautiful is born, the real you. The one who remembers that you're not just a body paying bills until death. You are energy. You are consciousness. You are part of a much bigger story, a quantum story, where your thoughts are not just personal, they're powerful. They ripple out into the field, drawing in experiences, people, and outcomes that match the frequency you live on. This isn't wishful thinking, it's quantum law, something science is only beginning to explain but ancient wisdom has always known. It's what Nikola Tesla meant when he said, If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So when you change your energy, your thoughts, your emotions, your expectations, you change your life. The awakening is the beginning of that change. It's the moment you stop looking outside for salvation and start looking within for alignment. It's realizing that you've always had access to the very thing you were seeking, that the universe was never withholding. It was waiting. Waiting for you to become who you really are. And maybe, just maybe, this book found you right now because your time has come. You're ready. Ready to stop sleepwalking through life. Ready to stop settling for just okay. Ready to remember that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a creator of them. That's what this journey's about. Not just learning information, but activating transformation. Not just hearing the truth, but living it. So as we begin, don't rush. Don't force. Just breathe. Pay attention to that flicker inside. The one that says, "This is it. This is what I've been waiting for." Let it guide you. Let it wake you up. Because the quantum attractor isn't something outside of you, it's already within you, waiting to be remembered. And the journey back to it begins right now. Chapter 2. What is the quantum attractor? The unseen force that responds to. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt something in the air? Something invisible but heavy? Or maybe you've thought about someone you haven't seen in years, and suddenly they call you the same day. Some chalk it up to coincidence. But what if it's not? What if what you think, feel, and believe sends out invisible signals that shape your reality, drawing people, events, and circumstances toward you like a magnet? That's the essence of the quantum attractor. It's not science fiction. It's not magic. It's an ancient truth rediscovered through modern understanding. You are always attracting. Whether consciously or not, your inner world, the thoughts you entertain, the emotions you nurture, the beliefs you carry, acts like a tuning fork, resonating with the world around you. The quantum attractor is that force of resonance. It doesn't care what you want. It mirrors who you are being. And once you understand that, life changes. It's like being given the instruction manual you never knew you were missing. Even the most brilliant minds have spoken about this in their own way. Albert Einstein once said, "Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it." Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but that's often how truth works. And when you look at the lives of people who've achieved the extraordinary, Oprah Winfrey, for example, you begin to see a pattern. Oprah didn't rise from poverty to power through luck. She aligned herself with a vision, with gratitude, with belief. Long before she had any material proof, she tapped into the quantum attractor without needing to know the science behind it. And the universe responded. You don't need to be a physicist to understand this. You just need to become more aware of your own patterns. Are you waking up in dread or in hope? Are you speaking out of fear or out of vision? Because the quantum attractor isn't judging you. It's not punishing or rewarding. It's simply reflecting. And when you start changing your frequency, not just your words, but your internal atmosphere, everything begins to shift. You'll meet people who seem to just get you. You'll find opportunities where before there were only blocks. You'll experience moments of pure alignment that feel like destiny, but they're not random. They are evidence that your signal has changed, the quantum attractor responded. And it always will. Chapter 3. The Quantum Field and You, Science. Meet soul, they say energy is everything, but most people never stop to ask, what does that actually mean for me? Imagine for a moment that you're not just flesh and bone. You're a living frequency broadcasting thoughts, emotions, and intentions into an invisible sea of energy that connects everything. That sea? That's the quantum field. And it's not just a spiritual idea, it's backed by science. Nobel Prize-winning physicists have revealed that atoms, the building blocks of everything we see, are 99.99999% empty space. But that emptiness isn't truly empty. It's teeming with energy and information, waiting to respond to consciousness. Your consciousness. It's the same field that Albert Einstein once called spooky action at a distance, and the same mystery that modern science is still unraveling today. But here's what's wild. Long before quantum physics gave it a name, ancient mystics, sages, and spiritual leaders already knew. Jesus spoke of faith moving mountains. Buddha taught that the mind shapes reality. Nikola Tesla famously said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." These weren't metaphors, they were truth. The quantum field doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to who you are being. Not just your words, but your emotional frequency. It's like tuning a radio station. If you're broadcasting frustration, you can't receive peace. But when you live in the feeling of gratitude, love, or certainty, even before the evidence shows up, you begin to attract that reality. Not through magic, but through alignment. This is where science meets soul. And when you learn to dance with the quantum field consciously, everything changes. Not just your results, but your sense of self. You start realizing that life isn't about controlling everything outside of you. It's about mastering everything within you. Chapter 4. Energy is the new currency. Why your vibe changes everything. We live in a world where money is often seen as the ultimate currency. It's measured, tracked, chased, and for many it defines success. But if you look deeper, there's a far more powerful force silently shaping your life moment by moment. That force is energy, not just the electricity that powers cities, but a subtle, invisible field that radiates from every thought, emotion, and intention you hold. In today's world, energy has become the new currency, and your personal vibe is the exchange rate that determines what flows to you and what flows away. Every person you meet, every room you walk into, every conversation you have, there's an energetic dance happening beneath the surface. You can feel it even if you can't see it. Ever walked into a room after two people have argued? No one has to say a word, but the energy is thick. Or maybe you've met someone who didn't say much, but just being around them made you feel calm, inspired, even healed. That's the power of energy. It communicates louder than words, and it never lies. Take Oprah Winfrey. She often says that her greatest success isn't her fame or her fortune. It's her alignment. When she's in flow with her energy, she says doors open, miracles happen, and when she's out of sync, nothing works, no matter how much money or power she has. Oprah's life is a living testament to the truth that your inner world creates your outer world. Your energy introduces you before you speak. It draws people to you, or pushes them away. It magnetizes opportunity, or repels it. It either invites or amplifies resistance. When you begin to understand this, everything changes. You stop asking, "How do I get more?" and start asking, "How do I feel right now?" You realize that being in a state of joy, gratitude, calm, or passion isn't just nice. It's magnetic. That feeling of lightness you get after meditating, walking in nature, laughing with a friend, or doing something that lights you up, that's not just you feeling better. That's you becoming a stronger attractor. Your vibe rises, your energy shifts, and suddenly, things begin to move. Albert Einstein once said, "Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it." He wasn't being poetic, he was being literal. You, me, the chair you're sitting in, the device you're reading this on, it's all energy vibrating at different frequencies. And the kicker? Like attracts like. That's not woo-woo. That's physics. High-frequency energy draws more of the same. Low frequency, same deal. Which means when you're operating from fear, stress, or scarcity, you're not broken. You're just tuned into a station that plays more of those songs. But when you shift your vibe, you change the channel. And the entire soundtrack of your life starts to sound different. Consider Jim Carrey, who once wrote himself a $10 million check for acting services rendered, and dated it 5 years into the future, long before he had any major success. He carried that check in his wallet and visualized it daily. Why? Because he was aligning his energy, his thoughts, emotions, beliefs, with the future he wanted. And sure enough, just before that 5-year mark, He got cast in Dumb and Dumber for a $10 million paycheck. It wasn't just the action, it was the vibration behind it. He tuned in before it ever showed up. But let's be clear, this isn't about pretending to be happy or forcing positivity. That's spiritual bypassing. True energetic alignment means honoring where you are while choosing to rise. It means you don't ignore pain, you move through it. You don't deny your shadows. You integrate them. Your energy doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be honest, real, open to growth. So how do you begin shifting your energy? You start by becoming aware. Notice how your body feels after certain conversations. Pay attention to how you breathe in different environments. Track your emotional states like you would your bank account, because your energy is just as valuable. Then, make small daily deposits into your vibrational wealth. Meditate, move your body, eat foods that nourish you, speak kindly to yourself, do things that fill your spirit. These aren't luxuries, they're energetic investments. Your energy is your true resume. It speaks volumes. When you walk into a room grounded, open-hearted, and aligned, people feel it. Opportunities open, conversations flow, life feels lighter. Not because the world changed, but because you did. And the world is just mirroring it back. In a culture obsessed with hustle and grind, choosing to protect and elevate your energy might feel countercultural, but it's the most strategic move you can make. Because while skills, resumes, and credentials matter, nothing is more magnetic than someone who is energetically aligned. Someone who glows from within. Someone whose vibe quietly says, I know who I am, I know what I carry, and I trust what's meant for me will find me. You don't have to chase. You just have to align. Because in the end, your energy isn't just what you radiate, it's what you attract. Chapter 5. Thoughts Become Things. The creative power of the mind. There's an invisible architecture behind everything you see in your life. A quiet, powerful designer that doesn't use bricks or blueprints but thoughts. Your mind is not just a place where ideas float around and fade away. It is the source code of your reality. Every emotion you feel, every choice you make, every coincidence you witness, these are echoes of what you've consistently held in your thoughts. Thoughts become things isn't just a catchy phrase. It's physics, psychology, and ancient wisdom wrapped into one eternal truth. Take Jim Carrey, for example. Before the fame, before the million-dollar movie deals, he was a broke, struggling comedian sleeping in a van. But Jim had something most people overlook: belief in his imagination. He once wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting. Services rendered, dated it 5 years into the future, and kept it in his wallet. Every day he visualized himself receiving that check. 5 years later, almost to the exact date, he got cast in Dumb and Dumber and was paid $10 million. That's not luck, that's creation. That's the quantum attractor at work. Your thoughts are alive. They carry energy. Each one has a frequency, like a radio signal. And just like tuning your car radio to 101.3 FM brings a specific song through the speakers, tuning your mind to the frequency of success, love, healing, or joy begins pulling those experiences toward you. The challenge is that most people are unconsciously tuned to worry, fear, doubt, or scarcity, and then wonder why their lives echo back those very same things. Your mind doesn't judge. It doesn't say, let's not give her what she's afraid of. It simply responds to repetition and emotion. If you constantly think, I'm not good enough, or nothing ever works out for me, your subconscious takes that as instruction and begins building a life to match. The quantum field, the universe, God, whatever name you give to the creative force, meets you at the level of your dominant thought. Not your fleeting wishes, your dominant thoughts. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, famously said, "The greatest invention is the mind of man." He failed over 1,000 times before finally getting the light bulb to work. Most would have given up after 5 tries, maybe 10. But Edison understood that each thought held a blueprint for what would one day be real. He saw failure not as failure, but feedback. His mind didn't just think, it created. And so does yours. Now here's the part people often miss. Thought alone isn't enough. It must be paired with belief and emotion. A lazy daydream without emotion is like planting a seed in dry sand. It won't take root. But a thought charged with feeling, felt deeply, believed in fiercely, becomes magnetic. It begins pulling into your life the people, situations, and coincidences to bring it to life. That's why gratitude and visualization work so well. When you feel the joy, abundance, or peace before it shows up, you attract it faster. You're living in the frequency of what you want, not the lack of it. This is not about magical thinking. It's not about staring at a vision board and waiting for a Ferrari to appear in your driveway. This is about consciously aligning your inner world so that your outer world has no choice but to follow. The greatest minds in history, from Tesla to Napoleon Hill, from Maya Angelou to Steve Jobs, understood this. They didn't wait for the world to change. They thought the world into being. In a study conducted at Harvard, researchers found that students who visualized themselves studying effectively before an exam scored significantly higher than those who didn't. They weren't smarter. They weren't better prepared. They just mentally rehearsed success. This is the same technique used by Olympic athletes, Fortune 500 CEOs, and elite performers in every field. They think in alignment with what they want, not what they fear. So, the real question becomes, what are you thinking day after day? What are you imagining when no one's looking? What story are you telling yourself about who you are and what's possible? Because that story becomes your life. Maybe you've been thinking small. Maybe you've been recycling thoughts that aren't even yours. Voices from childhood, criticism from others, past failures that you've mistaken as facts. But now, you get to choose again. You get to rewire your mind not just for survival, but for creation. Here's a truth that should both excite and humble you. The life you're living right now is the result of the thoughts you've entertained the most over the past few years. If you want a new result, you don't start with action. You start with thought. Because all action flows from belief, and belief is born in the mind. So take the time to sit still. Visualize. Speak out loud what you desire. Write down your goals not as maybe someday dreams, but as done deals. Think it, feel it, see it, over and over. Not out of desperation, but out of joyful expectation. Your mind is the most powerful force you will ever possess. Guard it, feed it, and above all, trust it. Because your thoughts are becoming things. Chapter 6. The Emotional Blueprint. How Feelings Shape. Outcomes feelings are not just reactions. They are the invisible architects of your life. When you understand this, you realize that emotions aren't just fleeting experiences. They are blueprints, and they're shaping your reality every single moment. Think of it like this. Your emotions are like the brushstrokes on a canvas. They define the picture that's slowly being painted as you move through your day. One person who understood the power of emotion to create their life was Oprah Winfrey. Growing up in poverty, facing unimaginable hardship, Oprah could have let her circumstances define her. But instead, she made a choice to focus on a feeling of empowerment. She felt her worth, even when the world didn't see it. She felt her vision of success, long before it was visible to anyone else. Oprah has often said, "The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude." Her story isn't just about talent or luck. It's about how she used her emotions to shape her path. She believed in her emotional power so strongly that it fueled everything she did. When we begin to recognize that emotions are energy in motion, we realize they are the driving force behind the law of attraction. It's not just about thinking positively. It's about feeling as if you already have what you want, as if it is already happening. Your emotions broadcast a frequency to the universe, and just like radio waves, The universe matches that frequency and sends things back in alignment with it. But it's not always easy, is it? In fact, it can feel almost impossible when you're stuck in negative emotions like fear, anger, or doubt. These feelings are just as powerful. They send out their own magnetic signal to the world. When you hold on to frustration or resentment, it's like putting out a call for more frustration and resentment. That's why people often find themselves in repetitive cycles, wondering why they can't break free. It's because their emotional energy is trapped in a loop. However, there's good news. You are not at the mercy of your emotions. Just like a musician who can learn to control their instrument, you can learn to harness the power of your emotions. By shifting your emotional state, you can change the frequency you're broadcasting. It takes practice, awareness, and intention, but the results are profound. By becoming mindful of how you feel, you gain the power to design your emotional landscape, and in doing so, you change the outcomes of your life. Take a moment and think about the last time you truly felt inspired, passionate, or deeply joyful. That feeling wasn't just a random moment. It was a direct connection to your highest self, and it was broadcasting an energy that drew opportunities to you. The more you can tap into that energy, the more you will attract the experiences, relationships, and success you desire. Chapter 7. The Subconscious Gatekeeper, Reprogramming the Hidden Driver. If you've ever felt like something deep inside is silently running the show, you're not alone. You may have heard about the subconscious mind, that silent driver behind our thoughts, actions, and habits. It's the hidden force within each of us, quietly shaping our reality without our awareness. But here's the catch. It doesn't care whether you're creating the life you want or keeping you stuck in old patterns. The subconscious simply follows the programming it received. Think about it. Every habit, every repeated thought, every reaction to life is stored in your subconscious like a vault. From the moment you were born, you started filling this vault with beliefs and memories. Early on, you didn't even get a say in it. Your parents, teachers, and society at large gave you the rules of how to see the world. And without even knowing, you began to operate from that limited framework. But you can reprogram it. You can take back control. Take a moment and think of a famous story you've likely heard before. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple, was once told he was too different to succeed. He was adopted, dropped out of college, and yet he had a relentless drive to follow his passion. He could have easily accepted the limitations his subconscious mind, shaped by society's standards, tried to impose on him. He didn't. Instead, Jobs used his awareness and vision to reprogram the beliefs about what was possible. The key to reprogramming your subconscious mind is not a quick fix. It's about persistence, patience, and intention. Think of the subconscious as a garden. If you've spent years planting seeds of doubt, fear, and unworthiness, it's going to take time to cultivate a new crop of belief, confidence, and possibility. But the good news is, the tools for planting that new garden are right at your fingertips. Let's break this down. The subconscious mind isn't like the conscious mind, which is aware and can make decisions on the fly. The subconscious is constantly on autopilot. It controls your actions, your emotional responses, and even how you perceive the world. So, in essence, your subconscious is the gatekeeper to your reality. It determines what you allow in and what you block out. Now consider a time in your life when you made a decision that didn't quite make sense. Maybe it was taking a job that didn't feel right, staying in a relationship that wasn't fulfilling, or making a purchase that you knew you didn't need. What you may not have realized at the time is that your subconscious mind was at work. It was pulling you toward familiar patterns even if they weren't in your best interest. These behaviors weren't a result of rational thinking. They were stored patterns in your subconscious mind. But here's the real beauty in all of this. Once you become aware of this, you can change it. Reprogramming your subconscious mind is like upgrading the software running on your personal computer. Once you've identified those old, outdated beliefs, you can choose new ones. You can replace "I'm not good enough" with "I am worthy of success." You can replace "I can't do this" with "I have everything I need to make this happen." This is where practices like meditation, visualization, and affirmations come into play. They help to directly access the subconscious mind and begin to rewire it. Think about it this way. Your mind is like a radio, and your subconscious is the station you're tuned into. If the station is playing static, you can't hear anything clearly. But once you tune in to the right frequency, everything becomes clearer, easier to understand, and more aligned with your true desires. Let's bring it back to someone you know. Well, Oprah Winfrey. Oprah's story is a powerful testament to the idea that our subconscious beliefs shape our outcomes. Raised in poverty, Oprah faced immense challenges and was told time and time again that she would never amount to much. Her subconscious mind could have easily absorbed these beliefs and kept her stuck in those circumstances. Instead, Oprah did the hard work of reprogramming her subconscious mind. She visualized herself as successful. She repeatedly told herself that she was deserving of greatness. Her mindset became the very foundation of her empire. Now imagine what would happen if you began doing the same thing. What if you started to consciously plant new seeds in your subconscious? What if, every time doubt crept in, you replaced it with self-belief? What if you stopped believing that life was a series of random events and instead began seeing it as a series of opportunities you're attracting? This is the work of reprogramming your subconscious. It's a practice, a daily commitment, and it's more than just a mental exercise. It's a way of being. The more consistently you align your thoughts and actions with your desired outcome, the more you'll notice your life begin to shift. Your mind will no longer be running on autopilot. It will be operating with intention. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into the practices that will help you align your conscious and subconscious mind so you can begin to create the life you've always dreamed of. Chapter 8. Magnetic Alignment. Tuning into what you want. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to effortlessly attract success, love, and opportunity, while others struggle no matter how hard they try? It's as if they're tuned into a different frequency, one that draws the things they desire like a magnet. The truth is, they are. Just like how radio stations broadcast on different frequencies, you too emit an energy field that either aligns with or repels the very things you're trying to attract. Consider the story of Oprah Winfrey, who, despite facing enormous challenges in her early life, always knew deep down that she was destined for greatness. She didn't just wish for success, she tuned her thoughts, her energy, and her actions to align with it. Oprah spent years honing her mindset, focusing on gratitude and believing in the power of manifestation long before she became the powerhouse she is today. This isn't just positive thinking. It's about creating a vibrational match with your desires. If you can align your thoughts and energy with what you want, you're no longer chasing after it. You become the magnetic force that attracts it to you. Chapter 9. Resistance. The silent repeller. Why wanting too hard can push it away. Have you ever desperately wanted something, only to find that the more you reach for it, the further it slips away? It's like that feeling when you're running after a bus. You see it just a few feet ahead, and no matter how fast you sprint, it always feels just out of your grasp. The harder you try, the more resistance you create, and the bus, your dream, moves farther away. This is exactly what happens when we try to force things into our lives. It's not just a theory, it's the way the universe works. And it's the reason why so many people struggle to manifest their desires. It's almost counterintuitive, isn't it? We've been taught from a young age that hard work and determination are the keys to success. But when it comes to the quantum field, the invisible realm where our thoughts and emotions create our reality, there's a subtle but powerful truth. The more you chase, the more you push it away. This law of resistance has been demonstrated time and again, both in science and in life. Consider the story of Steve Jobs, one of the most visionary minds of our time. Early in his career, Jobs was obsessed with getting ahead. He wanted success desperately. He pushed harder and harder, but it wasn't until he learned the power of letting go that things truly clicked into place for him. Jobs famously said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards." For years, he struggled to make things work. He pushed, he tried, and he failed. But it was when he let go of his desperate need to control every aspect of his destiny that everything started to fall into place. It wasn't about forcing success. It was about trusting the process and aligning with what the universe was offering. Once he did this, the dots connected effortlessly. The story of Steve Jobs is a reminder that sometimes the key to success is not trying harder, but allowing what's meant for you to come to you. When you're in a state of constant wanting and desperate effort, you're essentially telling the universe, I don't trust you. I don't trust that what I want is already on its way. Resistance is born from fear and lack. The fear that you won't get what you want. The lack of belief that it's already yours. And the more you push, the more you reinforce that fear and lack. You've probably heard of the famous law of attraction, which states that like attracts like. But there's an even deeper aspect to this principle. You attract what you're aligned with, not necessarily what you want in the moment. Alignment comes from a place of trust and relaxation. It comes from knowing that the universe is always working on your behalf, even when you can't see the evidence yet. Think about how this applies to relationships. When you desperately seek love, you often end up attracting the wrong kind of partner. But when you let go, focus on loving yourself, and trust that the right person will show up at the right time, love finds you in ways you couldn't have planned. The same is true in your career, your finances, your health. The more you let go of the desperate need to control the outcome, the more easily you align with your true desires. You begin to vibrate at a frequency that matches your dreams, and the universe responds in kind. Chapter 10. Time, Patience, and Quantum Timing. Trusting the Invisible. We've all heard the saying, good things come to those who wait. But in today's fast-paced world, where instant gratification is the norm, trusting in the timing of things can feel like a leap of faith. We live in a society that's constantly rushing, deadlines, fast food, quick results. So, when it comes to manifesting the life we desire, waiting doesn't always feel natural. Yet quantum physics tells us a different story. It teaches us that in the grand design of the universe, there is a perfect rhythm, a timing that is neither too early nor too late. It is always just right. When we speak of quantum timing, we're talking about an invisible force that works behind the scenes of our lives. It's the same energy that guides the cosmos, causes the seasons to change, and ensures that every sunrise happens exactly when it's supposed to. But how does this apply to us as individuals? How do we trust that the universe will deliver exactly what we need, exactly when we need it? Let me tell you about one of the most famous stories of trusting in the unseen, Steve Jobs, and the creation of the iPhone. In the mid-2000s, Apple was already a giant in the tech world. But Jobs, ever the visionary, was searching for something beyond the ordinary. He didn't want just another computer or phone. He wanted to create something that would change the world, something that would connect humanity in ways we couldn't yet imagine. Jobs famously said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards." At the time, most people didn't understand what he was doing. He kept pushing forward with a vision that wasn't yet clear. He was patient. He was persistent. But more than that, he trusted the invisible timing of the universe. The iPhone was not an overnight success. It took years of research, countless failures, and moments where the world didn't yet see what Jobs was building. But eventually, the pieces came together. Jobs understood that timing wasn't something that could be forced. It was something that had to unfold naturally. The success of the iPhone didn't just come from hard work or technology. It came from quantum timing. Jobs trusted that the world would catch up to his vision when the time was right, and it did. Today, the iPhone isn't just a piece of technology, it's a revolution. You see, the universe doesn't operate on our timetable. It has its own. And when we rush things or try to force outcomes, we are resisting the flow of that natural rhythm. Quantum timing is about understanding that there is an invisible hand guiding us toward our destiny, but we have to be patient enough to wait for the right moment. Take, for example, Oprah Winfrey. Before becoming the media mogul we know today, Oprah faced years of rejection and struggle. She was fired from her first job as a TV reporter because she was too emotional. Imagine that. Someone who would go on to change the world of television and become a symbol of empowerment was told she wasn't good enough. Yet, Oprah's faith in her purpose was unwavering. She trusted the quantum timing of her journey. Every setback was a lesson, every disappointment a step toward something bigger. And just like Steve Jobs, Oprah's rise wasn't an accident. It was the result of believing in something greater than what appeared in front of her. The key here is patience. Not the kind of passive waiting that leaves you stagnant, but the kind of patience that's active and full of trust. Trust that the things you want are already on their way to you. Trust that the universe is aligning everything in its own time. It's easy to become frustrated when things aren't happening fast enough. We want success now. We want answers now. But the most powerful thing you can do is simply to align with the natural flow of life. Trust the process. Trust that the right people, opportunities, and experiences will come to you when you're ready, and when they're ready for you. You are part of a much larger, intricate design. Every step you take, every decision you make, sends ripples through the quantum field, aligning things in ways you can't always see. The universe is never rushing. It's patient. It knows that everything has its moment. So if you feel like things aren't happening fast enough, remember that the universe isn't working on a human timeline. Its timing is perfect. You might not understand it in the moment, but looking back, you'll see how everything, every setback, every delay, was part of the bigger picture. Like Steve Jobs and Oprah Winfrey, trust the invisible timing. Trust that your moments are coming. Your quantum timing is here. And when the time is right, everything will unfold in ways that will leave you in awe of the unseen forces that guide you. Chapter 11. Synchronicity and Signs. The universe always talks back. Have you ever had a moment when you were thinking about something, maybe a person, a place, or a feeling, and then, out of nowhere, it shows up in your life? It's as if the universe was listening to your thoughts and decided to send you a little sign, a confirmation, or even a nudge in the right direction. That, my friend, is synchronicity at work. Synchronicity is more than just a coincidence. It's a cosmic dance between your inner world and the outer reality, where seemingly random events align in such a perfect way that it takes your breath away. It's the universe's way of telling you, you're on the right path. Take, for example, the story of Oprah Winfrey. She's a woman who needs no introduction. Her name has become synonymous with success, wisdom, and influence. But her journey wasn't always so straightforward. Oprah grew up in poverty and faced numerous obstacles on her way to becoming one of the most influential people in the world. But what's often overlooked in her story is how many times the universe seemed to show up for her in strange, synchronistic ways. One of the most well-known examples happened early in her career. Oprah was hosting a local talk show when she experienced what many would call a lucky break. She was sent to interview a woman who had survived a violent crime, a story that was sure to bring in viewers. But something unusual happened when Oprah met the woman. Instead of the typical cold, just doing my job interview, Oprah felt a deep emotional connection with the woman's story. She felt it deeply in her soul. And in that moment, she knew her show had to be more than just entertainment. It had to be about connecting people, sharing authentic stories, and uplifting others. Fast forward to today, and Oprah's entire career has been built on those synchronicities, the seemingly random events and connections that helped guide her to where she is now. It wasn't just talent. It wasn't just hard work. It was something else, a cosmic force guiding her every step of the way. The universe was giving her the signs, and she was paying attention. But here's the thing. The universe doesn't send these signs just to Oprah. It sends them to all of us. Every day, in small, seemingly insignificant moments, the universe is communicating with you. It might be through a song that plays just when you need it, or a person you bump into at the grocery store who says exactly what you needed to hear. Or maybe it's the phone call from a long-lost friend who shows up with an opportunity you never expected. The key to recognizing synchronicity is awareness. You have to be open to the signs and willing to listen to the subtle cues that life is offering you. It's easy to brush off coincidences as random or meaningless, but when you start to pay attention, you'll see that the universe is always talking to you. All you have to do is listen. In fact, you may have already experienced moments of synchronicity in your life. Maybe you were thinking about a person you hadn't seen in years, and then out of the blue, you run into them on the street. Or maybe you were feeling uncertain about a decision, and then you received a message of encouragement from an unexpected source. These aren't just random occurrences. They are the universe's way of giving you guidance, reassurance, and sometimes even a little nudge in the right direction. But in order to fully embrace synchronicity, you have to trust that the universe has your back. You have to let go of the need to control everything and allow the signs to come to you naturally. Take Steve Jobs, for example. We all know him as the visionary behind Apple, the man who revolutionized the tech industry. But what's less well known is how often he spoke about synchronicity and how the events of his life seemed to align in mysterious ways. Jobs was known for trusting his intuition, often following gut feelings and allowing things to unfold naturally. He even dropped out of college because he felt a strong inner calling to explore something deeper than the traditional education system could provide. Later in life, Jobs reflected on this decision, saying, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward." In other words, the signs were there all along, guiding him, but he had to trust the process. Synchronicity is about being in the flow of life, trusting that the universe will bring the right people, situations and opportunities into your life at exactly the right time. It's about letting go of control and allowing things to unfold naturally. When you start to notice the signs, you'll find that life becomes a little less random and a lot more meaningful. You'll start to see patterns, connections, and opportunities that you may have overlooked before. And as you continue to align with your true purpose, you'll begin to experience more and more synchronicities, guiding you toward the life you were always meant to live. So, the next time something unexpected happens, when a seemingly random event falls into place, don't dismiss it as a coincidence. Take a moment to pause and reflect. The universe is talking to you, and it's time to listen. Chapter 12. The Mirror Principle. Life reflects your internal state. Life, in its essence, is a mirror. It doesn't always reflect the outside world the way you want it to, but it always reflects what's going on inside you. You might not realize it, but everything you experience, the people you meet, the opportunities that come your way, the challenges you face, are all products of your internal state. You may have heard the saying, "As within, so without." It's more than just a catchy phrase, it's a fundamental law of the universe. Take Steve Jobs, for example. Jobs was known for his intense inner drive and his belief in the power of his vision. But what's often overlooked is how much his inner world, his relentless self-belief and unshakable focus, shaped the very world around him. Jobs was a master of the mirror principle. He saw himself as a visionary, someone destined to change the world, and that belief became his reality. He wasn't just building computers, he was creating a whole new way of thinking about technology, design, and possibility. His internal state, a constant alignment between his thoughts, emotions, and actions, manifested in the external world as Apple, one of the most powerful companies ever created. But Jobs wasn't the only one to unlock this principle. Think of Oprah Winfrey, whose childhood was filled with hardship and trauma. Yet she cultivated a belief in herself that transcended her circumstances. Oprah's inner world was defined by resilience, empathy, and a deep desire to connect with others. This internal belief system reflected itself in her career, transforming her into a global icon and a symbol of success. The mirror principle is not just about positive thinking or wishful dreaming. It's about alignment. When your inner world, your beliefs, your emotions, your sense of self, is in alignment with what you desire on the outside, life has no choice but to reflect that back to you. Chapter 13. Healing your frequency, letting go of past pain and energy. Block's life isn't just a series of events, it's an energetic dance. Every thought, emotion, and experience creates vibrations, sending ripples through the universe. But what happens when those ripples get stuck? When past pain, trauma, and unresolved energy accumulate, blocking your flow? Imagine your body as a radio, constantly tuning into the frequencies around you. If you're stuck on a station filled with static, the negativity from past experiences, it can distort the signal you're sending out into the world. To truly align with the quantum attractor, you need to clear the static and tune into a higher frequency. This isn't about pretending the past never happened. It's not about erasing pain, nor should we ignore the lessons it brought. Instead, it's about healing, truly healing. It's about shifting the energy that has kept you anchored in the past and choosing to live freely in the present. Take Oprah Winfrey, for example. She didn't grow up with a silver spoon, far from it. Her childhood was filled with hardships, from abuse to poverty. But Oprah found a way to heal and transcend those experiences. She understood that her past did not define her future. She began to shift her energy, embracing the power of forgiveness and gratitude. Her story is proof that no matter how heavy the past may seem, you have the power to release it and open yourself up to the blessings waiting for you. In her own words, Oprah says, "Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could have been any different." This mindset is transformational. Healing your frequency starts with forgiveness of yourself and others. But it doesn't stop there. It requires a deep, conscious effort to release emotional baggage, toxic thought patterns, and limiting beliefs. Think of the great pianist Ludwig van Beethoven. As he faced the deafness that would eventually consume him, he could have let his pain drown his creativity. But instead, he chose to rise above it. He didn't allow the pain of losing his hearing to define his ability to compose some of the greatest symphonies the world has ever known. He had to tune his energy, his frequency, to something greater than his circumstances. This is the essence of healing your frequency. Just like Beethoven, you must recognize that your past does not dictate your future. Every block, every hurt, every unresolved issue is a frequency that can be shifted with intention. The key is to release the old, limiting beliefs that no longer serve you and embrace the possibility of something new, something better, to heal. Your frequency, the first step, is acknowledging the blocks. These could be limiting beliefs, emotional wounds, or negative self-talk that you've carried for years. Recognize them for what they are, not as truths about who you are, but as energies that need to be cleared. Once you've identified these blocks, you can begin to release them one by one. Start by forgiving, not just others, but also yourself. Recognize that you did the best you could with the knowledge and resources you had at the time. Forgiveness isn't about excusing bad behavior. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional chains of the past. Next, create space for healing. This could involve meditation, energy work, or simply being in nature. The goal is to quiet the noise and tune into your higher self. Listen to the whispers that tell you you're worthy, that your past does not define you, and that you have the power to attract a future that is aligned with your true desires. Lastly, make peace with your story. It's yours to tell. Every hardship, every trial, has shaped you into who you are today. But it doesn't have to control you. Let go of the story of victimhood and embrace the story of empowerment. You are the author of your life, and the pen is in your hands. As you let go of past, pain and energy blocks, you begin to raise your frequency, aligning yourself with the quantum attractor. The clearer your energy becomes, the more in tune you will be with the universe, attracting opportunities, relationships, and experiences that reflect your highest self. Just like Oprah, just like Beethoven, and just like you, we all have the power to heal and transform. The only thing holding you back is the decision to let go. Chapter 14. Belief is the switch. Nothing works unless you believe. Belief isn't just a thought. It's the very foundation upon which everything in your life stands. Whether you realize it or not, your belief system is the engine that drives your reality. If you believe something is possible, you'll make choices and take actions that align with that belief. But if you doubt, you'll unknowingly sabotage your own progress. It's the ultimate paradox. Your belief in something makes it real. Take, for instance, the incredible story of Thomas Edison. We know him as the inventor of the light bulb, but what many forget is that Edison failed thousands of times before he succeeded. In fact, he's quoted as saying, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." But here's the thing. Edison didn't just keep going because he liked the challenge. He kept going because he believed that electricity could light up the world. That belief was so strong, so unwavering, that it carried him through every failure, every setback, and every moment when the world told him it was impossible. This is where belief becomes the switch, the invisible, powerful force that powers everything. Without it, nothing happens. Without belief, Edison might have just been another failed inventor, lost in the sea of history. But because he believed in his vision, he changed the world. Your life works the same way. You might be facing challenges, setbacks, or even self-doubt, but when you flip the belief switch, you transform your entire experience. It's not about forcing yourself to believe in something that doesn't feel authentic. It's about aligning with the truth of what you're capable of and what you truly desire. Consider the story of Oprah Winfrey. As a young woman, she faced immense obstacles. She was told she wasn't fit for TV because of her appearance, her weight, and her background. But Oprah believed in her ability to impact others. She believed that her voice mattered. Her belief in herself and in the potential to inspire others became the very energy that propelled her to greatness. Her belief wasn't just wishful thinking, it was the fuel that powered her actions. What Oprah, Edison, and countless other successful people share is a belief that they could create the life they wanted. They acted in alignment with that belief. That's where the magic happens. Belief fuels your action. Without belief, you won't even move toward your dreams. With it, you take steps every day, even if they're small ones, toward making your vision a reality. So how do you flip that switch? It starts with choosing to believe. Choosing to believe that no matter the obstacles, you have the power to shape your life. It's the difference between saying, "I wish I could," and saying, "I will." Every time you step into the world with that belief in your heart, you attract the circumstances, opportunities, and people that will help you fulfill your vision. Remember, you are the architect of your reality. Your beliefs lay the foundation. Every successful person from Oprah to Edison started with a belief so strong it became unshakable no matter how many failures came their way. They didn't see setbacks as defeat. They saw them as stepping stones. And that's what belief does. It turns obstacles into opportunities, doubt into determination, and fear into fuel. Chapter 15. Daily Practices to Activate the Attractor. Simple, powerful rituals. There's a secret that the world's most successful people know. Those who consistently create extraordinary lives. Those who seem to attract wealth, love, and health effortlessly. It's not about luck or some hidden formula. It's about consistent daily practices that align the mind, body, and spirit with the quantum field. Oprah Winfrey, for instance, has shared how she starts her day with gratitude. Her ritual is simple yet profound. Before her feet even touch the floor, she names 5 things she's grateful for. This small but mighty practice sets her energy in motion and primes her for success. Now, what does this tell us? It shows that the act of setting a positive intention, of training our minds to focus on abundance rather than lack, shifts the entire trajectory of our day. That's how we begin to attract the things we want, not by waiting for them to come to us, but by becoming the energetic match for them. If you think about it, you've probably heard of the power of habits before, but what makes these quantum habits different is their intention. They are practices that work with the universal laws of attraction, practices that activate your magnetic force. Take the practice of visualization, for example. It's not just about imagining what you want, but feeling it in your bones. You close your eyes and vividly picture yourself living your dream life, walking through a house you've always desired, being surrounded by people you love, or accomplishing that massive goal. But the magic happens when you add emotion to it. When you allow yourself to feel the joy, pride, and gratitude of already having what you want. That's when the quantum field takes notice and begins to respond. Another powerful ritual is affirmation. Words have energy, and the words you speak are like commands sent out into the universe. It's no accident that people like Jim Carrey, who visualized his success long before it arrived, became a household name. He wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and years later, he received that exact amount for a movie role. The universe doesn't differentiate between a check for $10 million or $10. It responds to the energy behind the belief. But the key to making these practices truly effective isn't in the complexity. It's in their consistency. Just like the seeds you plant in a garden need daily care, your attractor field needs attention every day. Take a moment in the morning to center yourself, whether through a breath, a prayer, a simple affirmation, or a gratitude list. These acts are the foundation for the life you're about to create. Even during moments of chaos, come back to these rituals. If you don't have time for a long meditation, just take 5 deep breaths and mentally state, "I am ready to attract all that is aligned with my highest good." And in the evening before bed, do the same. Gratitude once more. Visualization of the day's successes and a gentle surrender to what's coming next. These rituals don't require hours of your time. They just need consistency, intention, and belief. Because as with anything in life, when you keep showing up, the world shows up for you. Chapter 16. Quantum Visualization. Seeing it before it shows up. Have you ever wondered how people like Steve Jobs and Oprah Winfrey achieved seemingly impossible dreams? It wasn't just about hard work or luck. They tapped into something much deeper, the ability to visualize their future before it even existed. Jobs famously imagined the future of technology long before the iPhone or MacBook ever hit the market. He didn't wait for the world to tell him what was possible. He saw it clearly in his mind first. Oprah, too, has always spoken about the power of visualizing her success, especially in the early days of her career when she had far more doubts than money. And that's where the magic lies, in seeing it before it shows up. This isn't just about wishing for things to happen or daydreaming. Quantum visualization is about engaging your entire being, mind, body, and soul in the experience of something that hasn't materialized yet. You must feel the excitement, the gratitude, the joy of already having it. As you visualize your desired outcome, your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. It sends out signals to the universe, aligning your thoughts, energy, and actions toward that very reality. Think of it like a powerful magnet, pulling you toward what you want, whether it's a job, a relationship, or even personal transformation. This is where science and spirituality collide. In the quantum field, everything exists as potential energy, and your thoughts have the power to influence what becomes reality. But it's not enough to simply see the outcome. You must embody it. Live in the feeling of it as though it is already yours. The key is to make it feel real in your body. This act of visualization isn't just mental gymnastics. It's a sacred practice that has been used by some of the most successful people in history. They understood that the universe responds to the vibration you send out. And once you align your inner world with your desires, the outer world follows suit. The secret? Don't just wish for the future you want. See it, feel it, and believe it, as if it has already arrived. When you do this, you'll be amazed at how the universe begins to bend in your favor, just as it did for those who came before you. Chapter 17. Living in the feeling of the future, embodying the outcome. Now imagine for a moment that you've already achieved everything you desire. Feel it. The success, the abundance, the peace you long for. Now close your eyes and think about how it feels. What's the energy around you? What's the vibe in the air? How does it feel to wake up in that reality? In his groundbreaking work, The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle speaks about the profound shift that happens when we stop living in the past or future and start living in the present moment. But what if the present moment is actually a doorway to the future you want to experience? What if living in the feeling of the future is the most powerful thing you can do right now? Living in the feeling of the future isn't about waiting for the world to change. It's about aligning your energy today with the reality you desire tomorrow. This is exactly what Oprah Winfrey did when she first began her rise to fame. Before she became the powerhouse we know today, Oprah was just a young woman with a dream, a sense of purpose, and a desire to make a difference in the world. But she didn't wait for the world to tell her she was ready. Instead, she embodied her future self long before it arrived. Oprah would wake up every day with the belief that her life would be extraordinary. She stepped into that feeling and became the woman she knew she could be, long before the fame and fortune came. This is the key to manifestation. Embody the feeling of your future self now. Why does this work? Because the universe responds to frequency. You're not just a body moving through time. You are a magnetic force, constantly radiating energy into the world around you. When you embody the feelings of success, joy, or peace right now, you send a signal into the quantum field that aligns the universe with your desires. This is how you create a reality that's more in line with who you truly are. Think of it like this. Have you ever had a moment when you felt so in flow with life that everything just seemed to fall into place? Maybe it was an hour, or a day, or even a moment when you knew you were exactly where you needed to be, doing exactly what you needed to do. That was your energy aligning with your highest self. But what if you could tap into that flow every day? What if you could live in that feeling of the future all the time? What if that was the key to attracting everything you've ever wanted? Consider the life of Jim Carrey, the iconic actor who's a perfect example of this principle. In the early 90s, when Jim was struggling to get by, he wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered and dated it for Thanksgiving 1995. He carried that check with him, living in the feeling that one day he would be offered a role worth that amount. The universe responded, and in 1994, he received a movie deal for Dumb and Dumber that paid him exactly $10 million. Now, it's not magic, and it's not coincidence. It's the power of embodying the feeling of your desired outcome long before it shows up in physical form. Jim didn't just hope he'd get that deal. He felt it as if it had already happened. He made decisions, took actions, and carried himself in alignment with that belief every single day. The future isn't a far-off dream. It's a present reality waiting to be activated through your energy. You see, when you live in the feeling of the future, you start to act as if that version of you is already here. You make decisions from the place of your highest self, rather than from fear or scarcity. You radiate confidence, knowing that your goals are not just possible, they are inevitable. Think about your own dreams for a moment. Maybe it's to own a business, travel the world, or heal your body. What if you could feel as if those things were already a reality right now? How would you carry yourself? How would you speak? What would you do differently today if you truly believed that everything you want is already on its way? Living in the feeling of the future doesn't mean you ignore the present or stop taking action. It means you bring your desired reality into the present moment and feel it deeply in your heart and soul. You step into that energy, and as a result, the universe starts to rearrange itself to match your vibration. You might be wondering, how can I start embodying my future self today? The answer is simpler than you think. It begins with feeling. Start by closing your eyes and imagining yourself in the life you want to live. Picture it in vivid detail. Then, feel the emotions associated with it: joy, peace, excitement, gratitude. Let those feelings wash over you. Anchor yourself in that energy. When you practice this daily, you create a magnetic pull toward your desires. It's like planting a seed in the garden of your life. Every time you embody the feeling of your future, you water that seed, and eventually it will bloom into reality. This is the magic of the Quantum Attractor. It's not about wishing for what you want. It's about aligning with it now. Every moment you spend in the energy of your future self is a moment spent creating the life you desire. So as you move forward today, ask yourself, how can I live in the feeling of my future right now? Chapter 18. The Power of Gratitude and Surrender. Unlocking the final key. Gratitude is the final piece of the puzzle, the missing key that unlocks the full potential of the Quantum Attractor. It's easy to be grateful when things are going well, but true power lies in gratitude's ability to transform even the most challenging moments. Think of Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, revered for his creativity and vision, often spoke about the importance of gratitude and surrender. After being ousted from the very company he built, Jobs faced one of the most humbling moments of his life. Instead of giving in to bitterness or resentment, he embraced gratitude for the lessons learned. He said, "Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith." Jobs surrendered to the twists and turns of life, knowing that each experience, good or bad, was a stepping stone toward something greater. Gratitude is more than just a feeling. It's a transformative force. It's a shift in energy that amplifies the vibration of everything around you. When you approach life with a heart full of gratitude, you align yourself with the energy of abundance, attracting more of what you desire. This is the law of attraction, in its most powerful form, being thankful for what you have even as you continue to reach for more. But surrender, true surrender, is where the magic happens. Surrender isn't about giving up or resigning yourself to a life you don't want. It's about letting go of the need to control every outcome and trusting that the universe knows the best way for things to unfold. It's a paradox. In surrendering, you gain control over your life. When you release your tight grip on how things should happen, you allow room for the unexpected to enter your life. The miracles, the synchronicities, the opportunities you never could have imagined. The story of Oprah Winfrey is a beautiful example of surrendering to the flow of life. Oprah endured a turbulent childhood and faced rejection and hardship throughout her career. Yet, she surrendered to the process of becoming who she was meant to be. Her breakthrough didn't come by forcing her dreams to fit into a mold, but by embracing her authentic self and trusting the process. She often says, "The more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate." Oprah's ability to surrender to life's challenges and still express gratitude for them is a powerful reminder that, when you let go, the universe brings you exactly what you need at the right time. This is the magic of gratitude and surrender. They unlock the energy that drives the quantum attractor. They allow you to move from a state of struggle to a place of flow. The moment you accept where you are, while still aspiring for where you want to go, everything begins to shift. It's not just about wishing for something, it's about embodying the feeling of already having it. Gratitude fuels that feeling. As you practice surrender, you begin to feel lighter, more at peace with your journey. You let go of your worries, doubts, and fears, trusting that the universe has a plan for you. And as you do, you will see the power of the quantum attractor in action. Things will start to fall into place in ways that feel almost magical, but really, it's the energy you've cultivated through gratitude and surrender that's attracting your dreams. So, here's the final key. Thank the universe for what is, even as you work toward what can be. Be grateful for the lessons, the growth, and the beauty in the now, while allowing yourself the space to dream bigger. In surrendering, you unlock the full potential of your life. The quantum attractor responds to your energy, and your energy is heightened when you're in a state of gratitude and trust. Remember, life is always unfolding, and the more you embrace it with open arms, the more you will draw to you. Let go, trust, and be grateful for everything, because the universe has an incredible way of bringing exactly what you need when you stop trying to control it. Chapter 19. Real stories, real miracles. People who tapped into the attractor. It's easy to dismiss the power of the quantum attractor when you first hear about it, but once you see it in action, once you hear the stories of those who have unlocked its power, it becomes impossible to ignore. One of the most profound examples of this force in action comes from a woman who, against all odds, defied the kind of statistics that most would consider impossible. Her name was Oprah Winfrey, a name synonymous with success, personal growth, and self-empowerment. Oprah's rise to fame wasn't a matter of chance. It wasn't just her talent or charisma that led her to become one of the most influential people in the world. Oprah has spoken time and time again about the moment she realized that her thoughts and her energy could shape the reality around her. For her, this awakening was the turning point. Before her talk show became a global sensation, Oprah faced a life full of hardships, including a traumatic childhood and the constant struggle of working in a field where she was often underestimated. In an interview, she once mentioned how she found herself at a crossroads in her career, stuck in a job where she was constantly told she wasn't enough. That's when she started to change her perspective. She realized that she had the power to change the narrative of her life, simply by aligning her energy and thoughts with her true purpose. In one pivotal moment, she made a conscious decision to visualize her dreams, to truly feel what success would be like, not just as a distant hope, but as a current reality. Oprah didn't just want success. She wanted to serve, to make an impact on the world. She spoke daily affirmations, set her intentions clearly, and focused on living her life as though she had already achieved everything she desired. And within a short time, the opportunities began to flood in. She landed the gig that would eventually catapult her into superstardom, but it wasn't just luck. It was the power of the quantum attractor at work. But Oprah's story isn't unique. There are countless others who have tapped into this invisible force to bring about profound changes in their lives. Take Jim Carrey, for example. Before becoming one of Hollywood's most successful comedic actors, Jim Carrey was a struggling performer just barely getting by. In the early 1990s, he wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered and kept it in his wallet. He would look at that check every day, imagining what it would feel like to receive such a sum for doing what he loved. And guess what? Just a few years later, Carrey received a movie deal for Dumb and Dumber that paid him exactly $10 million. His story is often seen as a humorous anecdote, but it's a real example of how our thoughts and emotions can shape our external reality. Carrey's unwavering belief in his ability to attract success, coupled with his intense emotional alignment to that belief, turned what seemed like an impossible dream into his reality. And then there's Tony Robbins, the world-renowned life coach and motivational speaker who transformed his life through the principles of the quantum attractor. Robbins grew up in a poor family and faced many challenges, including a difficult upbringing. Yet, despite his circumstances, he was able to shift his mindset and begin attracting opportunities that would eventually lead him to success. One of the most powerful moments in his life came when he decided that he would not let his past define his future. Robbins began using visualization techniques, positive affirmations, and taking massive action towards his goals. The results speak for themselves. Today, Tony Robbins is known for helping millions of people achieve extraordinary transformations in their lives. These stories are far from isolated. There are millions of individuals around the world who have discovered the power of the quantum attractor and used it to turn their lives around, often in ways that seem like miracles. But here's the thing. These are not miracles in the traditional sense. They are the result of a deep understanding that energy, thought, and emotion are not separate from the world around us. They are, in fact, a vital part of the fabric of the universe. When you align yourself with the energy of the universe, when you start to see the invisible patterns that govern your life, you begin to attract the people, situations, and opportunities that will help you fulfill your purpose. The real miracle is not that these people got lucky. It's that they understood something profound. The universe is always listening. What you focus on expands. Your energy ripples out into the world and comes back to you in ways you might not always expect, but always in alignment with your energy. As you step deeper into the practice of using the quantum attractor in your own life, remember that these stories aren't just inspiration, they are blueprints. They show you what is possible when you commit to living in alignment with your higher self, when you trust the unseen forces that are always at work behind the scenes. It's time to believe that you too can create the kind of life you've always dreamed of. Just like Oprah, Jim, and Tony, you have the power to tap into the quantum attractor and manifest miracles. The question is, are you ready to start? Chapter 20. You are the attractor, living as a quantum creator. Every day, the truth is you're already the quantum attractor. Every choice you make, every thought you entertain, and every emotion you feel is an active force in the universe. Just like Nikola Tesla, who once said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." You too are a walking, breathing energy field that shapes the reality around you. What you focus on expands. Your inner world becomes your outer world. Tesla spent his life thinking on an entirely different plane, seeing the unseen, tapping into the power of the universe to invent life-changing technology. He knew that by aligning his mind with the greater forces of the universe, he could unlock infinite possibilities. You have the same potential. It's all about shifting your perspective and fully realizing that your energy, your beliefs, and your emotions are all part of this vast quantum field that responds to you. It's time to stop waiting for life to happen to you and start creating life as a conscious, powerful attractor of your dreams. The universe is always listening, and it's responding to you every single day. What are you choosing to attract today? Conclusion: the awakening is the first step in realizing the power you've always had. It's the moment you begin to see beyond the surface and start understanding the deeper truths about your own energy and the universe's response to it. Just as Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, and J.K. Rowling all found their own path to greatness by awakening to the power within them, so too can you. This is just the beginning, and once you embrace the awakening, everything you thought was impossible becomes just a matter of alignment.